Matthew Weldon here from Cortville, and today just going to give you some tips and bits of advice when you are looking for an antique or an vintage engagement ring. So there's plenty of guides out there how to buy a diamond, but I thought I'd do one that's specific if you're looking for that special, once-off vintage or antique piece. So one of the first things you'll have to look for is what style of ring do you like? What suits your personality? What suits your taste? And how does that ring suit your hand? So, I mean, there's a couple of broad styles. There's obviously a solitaire, which is the classic 1 stone. And then you have a 3 stone. You can have 5 stones, 2 stones. You can have colored stones if you want. The colored stone could be the main stone in the middle, or it could be an accent stone going around a central diamond usually. So have a think about the style and also what type of gem do you want. Now just bear in mind that depending on the coloured stone, there's certain considerations. You can wear any stone you want, but some of them will require slightly different care, and it's good to research those as well. So, and the other thing is, if you're going for a particular colour, let's say ruby, is it something that you could easily wear from day to night? Can you wear it with jeans? Can you wear it with pink? Can you wear it in all the different scenarios that your engagement ring has to be worn? Because it is an everyday ring. It's an everyday scenario ring. And that's just some of the considerations you have to make if you're going to go the coloured stone option. I love coloured stones, and we love coloured stones at Cortville, and we have a great selection. But just bear that in mind. So the next thing is, what period is the ring? So how old is it? Where's it from? These are questions you have to ask. Most antique jewelry shops will kind of stock rings from the Georgian period up to the retro 1970s, 1980s, even up to 1990s. What you have to bear in mind, I suppose, is which style, again, do you like? Do you like the kind of Georgian style? Do you like the Victorian style? We're going to do a series of videos kind of elaborating and explaining each of these styles just to give you further background on it. And the other question is it an original period ring? So is it an Art Deco ring from the 20s? Or is it a more modern version of that? There's nothing wrong with either. It's just that if you're buying it and you're investing in this piece, it's good to know. So the next thing to think about is the customization. Now with antique and vintage pieces, you don't want to do anything that's going to affect the value, but there are certain things that you can do. For example, let's picture this. You've just found the perfect Art Deco ring. Art Deco rings are virtually always platinum or white gold. It was just what was in vogue at the time. But you're a yellow gold person. Often you can change the band of the ring from either platinum or white gold to yellow gold, or vice versa, or rose gold. And it's usually straightforward enough. And again, it won't dramatically affect the value of the ring. So just bear in mind, just chat with your jeweler about that. The other thing is you can also get engraving if you want to get names or dates engraved on the inside of the band. I think it's a lovely sentiment, and it's something that you can usually do. I know that every vlog and every article and post online, when it talks about buying an engagement ring or buying a diamond, says you have to get a cert. And we're going to go slightly against the grain here and say we definitely think you should get a cert. However, it wouldn't be quite as concerned, specifically when we talk about antique and vintage rings. And I'm going to tell you why. The first thing is that with an antique and a vintage ring, they've usually got a lot of design work, and they might have other stones which a cert wouldn't capture anyway. Whereas typically if it was a modern solitaire, the cert talks about the 1 stone, and most of your value is in that 1 stone. Whereas with an antique and a vintage ring, there's a lot more to it than just the 1 stone, and a cert doesn't capture that. Second thing I would say is that when rings are made, the diamonds are separate and then they're put into the setting, so you can cert them when they're loose, because diamonds have to be out of the setting to get them certified. With an antique and a vintage ring, the diamonds are already in the setting. and you actually have to unmake the ring a little bit to take out the stone to get it certified. And if it's not really required, there's no point interfering with the ring just to do that. That leads me on to the next point. So you've done your research, you've looked online, you've discovered the type of pieces that you like, the type of gems that you like. The next thing is where you're going to get it from. So the antique and vintage market, typically there's not big international chains of jewelers. Typically it's the independent standalone shops, or maybe online dealers, or maybe traveling dealers who do antiques fairs up and down the country. So what I would ask you to consider is particularly if the stone is not certed or if it doesn't have the paperwork, have they gemologists on site? So as we discussed before, sometimes you can't take out the stones, you can't send them away to get certed, but a lot of places will have a fully qualified gemologist on their staff. So these are people who've gone to the different gemology schools around the world and trained to assess stones, particularly in their settings. And they can give you valuation reports and our gemstone reports, and they can give you comfort over to what you're getting. Second thing is the reviews. I mean, we're all digitally native now, so we all know how to check either Google reviews, Facebook, Trustpilot. There's lots of different platforms. Just have a quick check, see what they say. Do a lot of people like them? Is there any complaints? Is there any this? And this is not just specific to antique and vintage jewelry. This is to anything that you're looking to purchase, especially if it's a big investment. It just pays, just do a quick research. Could be a car, could be anything. Just check up online, see what they say. The next thing I would say is the aftercare service. And especially with antique and vintage rings or any jewelry, there's things like, do they offer free cleaning for life? Do they have a service package included? So depends, varies from shop to shop. What we do is, you have free cleaning for life, and also we do our first annual service, is included as well. So you come back in a year and we check everything. But everybody will be different. Every jeweler, every antiques dealer will be different. So just find out where you stand, or even resizing of the ring, because sometimes you buy a ring, you wear it for a week or two, and you find, you know what, it's almost perfect, but it just needs to be fractionally bigger or fractionally smaller. Just see where you stand with something like that. And the next thing I suppose I would say to you is those would be the main points. It's certainly not an exhaustive list. I've tried to be as comprehensive as I can, but of course there's obviously something you'll miss. But I'll finish by saying, if you're looking for an engagement ring, I would really encourage you to look at antique or vintage ones. The design, the personality, the individuality of them is so special, and a lot of them are once-off and unique pieces. And I think out of all the pieces of jewelry you get in your life, I think the engagement ring should be that once-off special piece to you. Also, antique and vintage ones, they've been reused, they've been recycled, they're totally sustainable. In fact, they're the ultimate sustainable thing. They've had a story to tell, and I suppose with you, they'll just be having their next chapter. And the final thing is, typically you'll get a lot more bang for your buck, and we all like that. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. And like, any questions, comment below and I'll do my best to get back to them. Our website is www.courtville.ie. That's COURTVILLE. And you'll find lots of beautiful examples there. Like I said, I'd really encourage you to think antique or vintage because they're really very special. Thank you.